Alright guys, so what you are looking at in front of you is my newly bought LG UltraGear 32GS95UE. It's one of the newest release of the white RGB layout OLED display out there. So who is this display really for? It is actually for a hardcore gamer who wants a premium 4K 200Hz refresh rate and virtually no lag, no motion blur gaming experience, and have a high budget to actually match this monitor's performance on their PC builds. That is high-end gaming processors, high-end graphic cards, or if you are a console gamer who wants the best and smoothest gaming experience possible with the option to run all the games that you have at 1080p at 480 Hz. This monitor is for you. Now, if your focus for the needs of a monitor falls outside of this spectrum, or if you have just a modest gaming setup, there are many other monitors that costs a lot less than what this monitor is going to cost, and it will work even better than this monitor will work for your particular needs. Okay, so if you don't fit into the category that I described at the very beginning, a 2K/4K IPS panel monitor that's capable of running at above 120 Hz will be more than sufficient for all the non-gaming applications for you. If you do a lot of video editing, if you do photo processing, and if you are one of those content creators that do a multitude of options, you can find a lot of other alternative monitors at, one quarter of the cost of this monitor, or maybe 1/3 of the cost. All right. So with that cleared and out of the way, I'm just gonna really quickly go through the 32GS95UE's build quantities and my using experience after owning the monitor for about a week. So let's just quickly dive into the build quality of this OLED panel. Okay, it's got a very thin bezel. Okay, and the bezel itself is actually metal. Even though the back cover and everything else is plastic, it does make it feel a lot more premium. It's got a very large base, which is great because I usually put a lot of stuff on or near the base, and this large base enables me to put a lot of things at the bottom. Compared to other monitors where the base is actually supported by 3 pillars, those bases are not my favorite, and those kind of flat bases works really well. The monitor offers a rather limited adjustability. So it is height adjustable, okay? It's able to go a lot taller than you need actually, but it's not able to go a lot lower. So this is the lowest it would go. Now for my personal preference, I prefer my monitor even lower, but again, just keep that in mind that this monitor doesn't go as low as some people may prefer. You also got a turning adjustability, but again, this is limited at about a 15-degree angle on each side. So this is the best it can turn compared to maybe some Dell monitors where you can actually literally turn this 360 degrees if you want. It's also got tilt. So this is quite nice, 90-degree tilt for whatever that you need this monitor for. If you're reading documents and you need a fully tilted monitor, you have the option to do that, which is great. Okay, so I think the best case application for creatives, if you're not just using this for gaming at a fixed area, is to use a VESA compatible monitor mount that mounts to your desk, which is going to offer you a lot more adjustability than what this monitor initially is going to offer you. Okay, so the setup of this monitor is pretty plug and play. For it to run, you just need 2 cables, a display port or a HDMI 2.1 cable, which both of those are actually included in the monitor, in the retail box. Okay, so you can use either one. Just make sure your graphic card actually supports such high refresh rate. And What else I want to talk about? So if optional, if you connect a USB 3.0 cable onto the monitor to work as a hub, you also have the ability to install a LG on-screen control utility, which is going to enable a on-screen control without having to press a button to change the settings in the manual. Okay, so basically you press somewhere on the back, it opens up this manual. With the on-screen utility, you have an option to run it in the Windows. However, that utility is very, very, very buggy. With that installed, it's going to mess up your gameplay because it keeps hanging the system and it keeps trying to read the system information that takes a lot of resources. So I would not recommend installing that on-screen utility if you do decide to get this monitor and you're looking at my review. Okay. The second option with the second ability with that USB cable connected is to run the LG Calibration Software, which is also a free software included with this monitor that you can download. With that free software, so if you have a compatible color profiler, what I have here is i1 Display Pro calibration profiler right here. If you have one that's compatible, like a Color Monkey, a Spider, or any other high-end, profilers, you are able to run that hardware with the LG calibration tool in order to do a hardware calibration on this monitor. And once that calibration is done, it's going to save the profile. Okay, it's gonna be able to save that profile into a special profile that I'm going to show you really quickly, called Calibration 1. And if you have a different profile you want to use, say sRGB, you could put it in Calibration 2. Now I don't have another profile set up, so it's going to say, oh, you have to set it up first. But this one is fully calibrated for video editing and photo editing. The brightness is 100 nit, color temperature 65K, gamma is at 2.4. Gives you some basic information, but for the purpose of this display or this video, I actually just left it on in one of those vivid gaming modes to really showcase the color that this monitor is able to produce. It's amazing. Okay, the color is simply amazing, but again, do a hardware calibration that would ensure that your monitor is well calibrated and performing at its best for color critical applications. Okay, if you do just gaming, it doesn't really matter that much. The original color is rather pleasant. Okay, so picture quality, again, since we talked about the color calibration, the picture quality, again, it's the best out there. OLED is well known for pure blacks and really high contrast ratio with HDR enabled. Now, I personally don't use HDR that much. Again, I do occasional content creation and I do just general internet web browsing. I do some coding for my schoolwork. That's pretty much it. But in terms of what this monitor can offer, it is one of the best out there in terms of ability to display really, really vibrant colors that really pops out with HDR or for gaming purpose. Okay, so in that regard, it's one of the best. It's important to talk about text quality. Okay, so if you do, let's say, office work, you read out a lot of Excel sheets, you do coding, you do Python, you do machine learning, whatever, a lot of codes to be processed. This monitor also handles it really well. Again, being LG, they use their proprietary white RGB pixel layout. So there are a total of 4 different pixels in each of those matrix dots on the monitor. That white pixel is going to help with displaying the text in a really sharp manner. Okay, so I personally did not notice any difference between this and my old 4K IPS monitor in terms of text clarity. In fact, this monitor features a sharpness adjustment, which is pretty cool. That makes text really pop out and also makes 3D gaming, FPS, fast motion action gaming really pop out with that hardware sharpness adjustment building in this monitor. So if you're concerned about text on a OLED monitor for this LG, do not be. Now I know there are other QD OLED monitors that uses a really wacky pixel layout that actually makes the text really have a lot of color fringing. I went to the actual Micro Center. I looked at some QD OLED monitors. I did not buy one of those. The QD OLED is mainly manufactured by Samsung, and the white RGB is manufactured by LG. So it's pretty much two camps of display technology. With the QD OLED, the newer ones have less text fringing, but it's still there. But with the white RGB LED OLED, you don't really notice anything at all. So that's why, based on my needs, I choose a WRGB layout. But if you just do gaming, you don't have to worry about this. You have some other options from other manufacturers that features the QD OLED layout that you can choose from for, again, high-end gaming purpose. The burn-in concern, again, it applies to every single OLED monitors out there, especially for static images. If you look at the codes all day, if you do video editing, you have your DaVinci running with the panels all laid out like that. In the long run, maybe in 2-3 years, you might have some sort of burn-in persist on the OLED monitors. Okay, so this one is end, and I'm gonna try to reset this one and continue play. Yes, it is an actual issue, and it still is an issue on the 3rd gen WRGB OLED monitors. So to offset that, this monitor has some features. For example, I think there's an energy conserving option. Just going to the manual to really quickly show you guys those options to offset the burn-in. Okay, so OLED screen move, you have a couple of different moving modes. This screen move basically is a pixel shift. So it shifts the pixel left, right, up and down for a few pixels to offset that area. So hopefully that reduces the burn-in, concern. That's the first thing against the burn-in. The second thing, the screensaver automatically turns off if there are no motion on the picture. It automatically turns the screen off. It basically means you're not looking at the screen, then it turns itself off. This OLED image cleaning feature, you can manually run it, and if you don't do the manual run, every 4 hours you turn off the monitor at the end of the day, or the monitor goes into sleep, it runs a pixel refresh cycle, which takes about 10 minutes. So every day you finish with turning off your computer, this thing actually runs manually. So basically, if you use it for more than 4 hours, it's gonna run in itself. You don't have to worry about that. It's not as aggressive as some other monitors where I heard there's an on-screen pop-up every 4 hours that forces you to run it regardless of whatever setting you put it there. Okay, so, and also it's got a energy conservation mode. If you turn this on, again, it helps with brightness compensation and such. So basically you have those modes to protect and prolong the monitor's life without any significant burn-in concerns. But the best practice for any OLED, again, is to run videos or other kind of motion image when you're not using the monitor. Try not to have the monitor just set at a static base for too long, okay? But now I know if you're sitting in front of your screen doing coding all day, again, if you're not gaming, you might not want to get a OLED monitor just because of the burn-in concern. And again, it's still an issue for any OLED monitors out there. So make sure if you don't do hardcore gaming, get an IPS panel that you will never have any kind of burn-in issues. All right. So warranty-wise, this monitor only offers a 2-year warranty compared to a lot of other high-end monitors from Dell, from Acer, from MSI, Asus. They all offer a 3-year warranty with burn-in coverage. So LG is not in the forefront of, warranty coverage. So just keep that in mind, okay? Definitely think about some other alternatives if warranty is a concern for you. There are a couple of issues that I actually ran into with this monitor. So far, my personal opinion, I kind of like this monitor for, again, extreme gaming purpose, but for everything else, I do have reservation and concern. Now, the first thing first is there was a bright pixel on the second day when I bought the monitor. On the second day, I turned the monitor on. There's a big, bright, stuck pixel right at the center of the screen. Now, right now, it is gone. It's not there, but that white pixel is so obvious, it raised up my concern. I turned off the monitor and I turned the monitor back on. That actual pixel actually went away. So it is not there, but then again, I'm still within the return period. So within that 30-day return period, if that white pixel does pop back up, then I will think about returning this monitor. Again, you don't want any kind of pixel issues with the monitor that you buy, right? So make sure you return the monitor if there are any kind of dead or bright pixels. Now that's my concern number one. The concern number two is, again, what I mentioned earlier during the setup. The on-screen display utility really crashes this monitor when you have to use it for gaming purpose. Now, if you're into a game and you switch out of the game by pressing Ctrl plus Escape, and you go back into the game, the monitor will keeps or actually show on the screen what I was describing. It's that issue that really annoys me. So basically, you have to disable and uninstall the on-screen display to resolve that issue, which again defies the purpose of having that on-screen display utility, right? So I was able to resolve that, but then again, on-screen display is not working properly. So that's my issue number two. And my concern number three is that I only use this monitor for occasional gaming. My main purpose is content creation. I also use this for work. I work from home. So a lot of times I have my work laptop that I need to hook up to a different display, or I have to disconnect the cable and hook my other cable from my laptop onto this display as opposed to my personal PC. This monitor is not able to do that. It doesn't have a built-in USB-C alt display port mode, okay? Again, competitors using the exact same panel offers 3-year warranty, has USB-C alt mode that, this monitor lacks. So it's a pretty bare bone monitor, but it does offer you top of the line gaming performance for 4K 240 Hertz. And that is my conclusion. Now again, goes back to the first question that I asked. Are you a hardcore gamer? This is actually a niche monitor. If you ask me, are you a hardcore gamer? Already had a top-end, high-end PC setup, already have, top of the line gaming devices, consoles. If you fall into this category, you need the best of the best. This monitor is definitely one of the best options for you. Again, what I didn't mention is no lag, visually no motion blur. Those again fits into top of the line gaming requirements. But if you fall outside of this, you just occasionally game, you are concerned about burning because you use a lot of applications that have static images that doesn't move around, you certainly want to look at a IPS panel monitor with a rather high refresh rate. Maybe not as high as 240 Hertz, but anything above 120 Hertz will give you a very smooth experience doing everything else, okay? So that is my conclusion and my tips for you guys if you're looking at this monitor. Is it worth $1,300? If you fall into that first niche, yes, it is worth every cent. If you fall outside of that niche, I personally do not think this monitor is worth $1,300 for general content creation, for video editing, for document reviewing, for coding. For that, you could spend a lot less getting another monitor that performs much better without any of the issues that I mentioned. All right, so that's my conclusion to you. I hope you found this video helpful. And again, it's a long video, I'm sorry, but I think it's important to highlight all the options that you have and all the concerns that I've encountered when I got this monitor. Again, think twice about what I said at the very beginning of the actual niche and the need, and you will be hopefully happy with the monitor of your choice. Thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Alright guys, so this is day 2 of my OLED monitor experience, and I'm already a little bit frustrated because I think the monitor is actually experiencing some sort of lag or delay in terms of switching between the 3D mode and the desktop mode. So anytime there's a full screen application that's being loaded, you can see my mouse stops moving smoothly and it just lags around. And if I switch back to here, you can see how slow things gets loaded up. And again, my machine is perfectly capable of running this at over 240 frames per second, but right now it's just not doing what it's supposed to do. And I'm highly suspecting that it is the LG driver for the on-screen display that I installed that might be causing this issue. So see, it doesn't even load it up. So the driver is right here. I'm going to try to quit this on-screen display driver, and let's try to see if the problem still exists. Hopefully the problem is gone. Okay. And let's see. Try to exit to the screen and try to go back to the screen. So it seems like that the driver with the USB connected from the PC to the monitor actually tries to read and use system resources where it's not supposed to. And as you can see, the moment I quit that OSD, the on-screen display driver, the system seems to be going back to normal. So definitely something wrong with that driver or with that software. All right, guys, so I just finished with the calibration process. Unfortunately, I didn't capture the calibration results, but it's well within the spec for the delta, E, error rate, whatever. Everything was within, I think, 1.5% to 0.3% range on the calibration report. And unfortunately, I don't have that page, but once you finish with calibration, it leads you back to this preview page. The picture mode is calibration 1, and the color gamut is 709. And I had that set, and I think I did some customization to change the calibration to, I think, 90 CD per square meter. I think that persisted. So because when I went into settings, okay, before it was setting game 1 mode. So now I went into settings to check the color mode. It says I am in calibration 1. So basically it just means my monitor is already fully calibrated, but obviously it's still calibrated at 100 nit. Color temperature is within spec, gamma is within spec. If I change it to, so this one hasn't been calibrated yet, so it doesn't have any information, but on a calibrated screen, it looks really beautiful. Okay, color, everything is really nice. Now, if I go back to game 1 mode, which I also calibrated using the other calibrator. All right, so I forgot to show you guys the image cleaning mode, which actually the monitor turns itself off to do the clean. And now you can see once the monitor is off, how the matte screen looks like. The machine said it's going to take about 10 minutes for the clean to go on. And it says do not turn off the monitor. And also after 10 minutes, the monitor will turn itself back up automatically. So that's what the clean looks like. Nothing fancy, it's just a blank screen. So just for those that are interested, okay?